His face trapped in alien tech. He whispered, "I'll be like this forever." Then an exiled alien freed him. The Void-class transport shuddered as it broke through the atmosphere of Nexus 9, a backwater outpost on the edge of contested space. Flight Lieutenant David Moore, call sign Ren, gripped the controls tighter, his knuckles white beneath half-finger tactical gloves. At 20, he was the youngest pilot in the Earth Coalition's Expeditionary Force, a distinction that had earned him this shit assignment. "Command says we're clear for approach vector 79er, his co-pilot Hendricks muttered, not looking up from the nav console. "Void activity is minimal in this sector," Ren snorted. "Minimal doesn't mean non-existent. Those memory-sucking bastards are always lurking somewhere." He adjusted his cropped, field-gray flight jacket. The HUD tether, dangling uselessly after their last dogfight, had fried half the ship's systems. The reinforced knee of his dark flight pants caught on the edge of the console as he shifted in his seat, the mag boot on his right foot still showing a hairline crack from his last emergency landing. "First interstellar mission as primary pilot," Ren said, forcing a grin. "Mom would be so proud." "She'd be terrified," Hendricks replied. "Void forces have been picking off Coalition ships for months. The tail eater masks they use." He shuddered visibly. "Better to die than get caught wearing one of those." The Eidolon Atlas Neural Interface, colloquially known as the tail eater among Coalition forces, was the Void's most horrific weapon. Not content with merely killing humans, they trapped their consciousness, feeding off memories and experiences to power their vast star maps and navigation systems. "Not planning on finding out what one looks like up close," Ren said, checking their descent trajectory. The ship bucked again, harder this time. Warning lights flashed across the console. "What the hell was that?" Hendricks snapped, fingers flying across his station. Ren's stomach dropped as the proximity alert screamed, "Ambush! Void cruiser decloaking at 3 o'clock." The first blast hit before he could pull the transport into evasive maneuvers. The cockpit filled with smoke and the shriek of tearing metal. Emergency systems wailed as the ship began to tumble. "Mayday! Mayday! This is EC-227 under attack by Void forces in sector." Hendricks' transmission cut off as another blast ripped through the hull. Ren fought the controls, trying to stabilize their descent. "We're going down. Brace for impact." The last thing he remembered was the planet's surface rushing up to meet them, a wall of dense forest canopy filling the view screen before everything went black. 4 years later, Ren stared at nothing through the neural interface covering his face. The tail eater mask had become his prison, his identity, his existence. Memories flowed from him like blood from an open wound. His childhood on Earth 27, his first flight, his mother's smile, his graduation from the academy. The Void consumed it all, converting human experience into data for their vast network. He couldn't see his cell anymore, couldn't feel his body most days. Only the mask remained constant, feeding off him, keeping him alive just enough to continue the extraction. Sometimes he heard guards passing, their chittering language incomprehensible through the mask's filters. "I'll be like this forever," he whispered to himself, the words echoing inside the mask. "No one to hear, no one to care." Then came the explosion. The concussive force rattled his restraints. Alarms blared. Through the mask's limited audio receptors, he heard weapons fire and shouting. Another explosion, closer this time, and suddenly the wall of his cell blew inward in a shower of debris. A figure stood in the new opening, silhouetted against emergency lighting. Humanoid but clearly alien, slender, athletic, moving with predatory grace. As the figure stepped closer, Ren could make out more details. A female form clad in a matte-armored bralette beneath an open moto bolero, micro shorts laced provocatively at the sides, and sleek overnight mag boots. Half-finger tactical gloves similar to his own covered her hands, and a thin choker with a scavenged ID tag hung at her throat. She approached cautiously, weapon trained on him. Her skin had a subtle blue undertone, her eyes larger than human standard and an impossible shade of amber. When she spoke, her voice carried an accent he couldn't place. "Well, shit. They've got you plugged in good, don't they?" She lowered her weapon slightly. "Didn't expect to find a human here, especially not one still alive." Ren tried to respond, but the mask muffled his words. He tried again, forcing humor he didn't feel. "At least tell me I was handsome before this thing." To his surprise, a smile flickered across her face. She holstered her weapon and moved closer, examining the neural interface with practiced eyes. "I'm Asha," she said, fingers tracing the mask's connection points. "Outclan, and you're wearing an Eidolon atlas. Lucky for you, I've seen these before." She pulled something from a pouch at her hip, a small device etched with symbols he didn't recognize. "My mentor taught me an old cipher before the VOID executed him. My work might fry your brain. 50-50. Ren made a muffled sound that might have been a laugh. After 4 years as a living battery, those odds sounded pretty good. Asha pressed the device against the mask's primary node. Pain lanced through Ren's skull as the interface fought the intrusion, then blessed relief as something clicked and the mask's grip loosened. It didn't detach completely, but retracted enough to expose his eyes, nose, and mouth. He blinked in the harsh light, seeing clearly for the first time in years. His voice, when he found it, was raspy from disuse. "David Moore, Flight Lieutenant, Earth Coalition." Asha's eyebrows rose. "A pilot? Interesting. The Void doesn't usually keep pilots alive." "Lucky me," Ren croaked, attempting a smile. "What's the extraction plan?" Another explosion rocked the facility. Asha glanced over her shoulder. "That would be my distraction running out. Plan was grab some energy modules and go, but..." She looked back at him. Decision made. Plans change. "Can you walk?" "Guess we'll find out." With her help, Ren stood on shaky legs, the mask still partially attached to his face, but no longer feeding on his memories. "Lead the way." As they moved through the smoke-filled corridor, alarms blaring around them, Ren noticed something strange. The mask was responding to Asha's presence, its internal display flickering with new information, coordinates, pathways, escape routes that hadn't been there before. "The mask," he said, stumbling alongside her. "It's showing me something. A way out." Asha gave him a sharp look. "That's impossible. The Eidolon Atlas only takes. It doesn't give. Well, this one's giving. And I think it likes you." For the first time since his capture, Ren felt something like hope. Whatever connection existed between the alien girl and the Void technology attached to his face, it might just be their ticket to freedom. Alarms wailed through the Void facility as Ren stumbled alongside Asha, his legs weak from years of disuse. The mask, still partially attached to his face, flickered with information. Pathways, security protocols, guard rotations, all fighting for dominance in his mind. "Left here," he gasped, following the mask's guidance. "Then 2 rights at the junction." Asha glanced at him skeptically, but followed his directions. "How do you know this isn't leading us into a trap?" "I don't," Ren admitted, "but it's showing me things, like it's trying to help." They ducked into a maintenance corridor as a squad of VOID guards rushed past. In the dim emergency lighting, Asha's amber eyes seemed to glow. She pressed against him in the narrow space, her body warm against his atrophied frame. "Your heart's racing," she whispered, a hand resting on his chest. 4 years without human contact," Ren replied with a weak smile. "And then you show up." Something flickered in her eyes. Amusement, interest, he couldn't tell. "You humans and your directness, always saying exactly what you're thinking. Side effect of the mask, Mom," he said, "strips away your filters. After years of having your memories drained, you stop bothering with pretense." Her fingers traced the edge of the mask where it met his skin. "Does it hurt?" "Not anymore. I've gotten used to it." He winced suddenly as information flooded his consciousness. "Wait, something's happening." The mask display shifted, showing not escape routes but memories. His own, but viewed from outside like watching a recording of his life. Then other memories, not his own. A young alien girl in military dress standing at attention before a stern commander. The same girl, older now, witnessing an execution. "Asha, it's connecting us," he whispered. "I can see you." Alarm flashed across her face. That's impossible. The Eidolon Atlas doesn't work that way." "This one does." Ren's head throbbed as more images poured in. You're the general's daughter. You were military before joining the rebellion. Asha pulled back slightly, eyes narrowing. Get out of my head. It's not me, Ren insisted, gripping the wall for support. The mask is creating some kind of link between us. I think it's trying to understand why you could partially deactivate it. Another wave of memories hit him. Not just images now, but emotions. Asha's fear when her mentor was discovered. Her grief at his execution. Her determination as she fled her father's compound. Stealing the cipher that would later help free Ren. And beneath it all, a current of loneliness that matched his own. I can feel what you felt, he said softly. The isolation, the betrayal. Her expression softened. And I can feel yours. The mask, it's sharing your experiences with me too. Their eyes met and something electric passed between them. 4 years of Ren's solitary confinement and Asha's self-imposed exile from her people had created a hunger in both of them. For connection, for understanding, for touch. She moved closer, her hand returning to his chest. Your species is fascinating, so fragile physically yet so resilient mentally. 4 years connected to an Eidolon atlas would kill most void subjects. Maybe humans are just too stubborn to die, Ren said, his voice rough, or too valuable to lose. Her fingers traced his jawline below the mask. The void doesn't keep prisoners without reason. The mask flared again, and Ren gasped as a new wave of information flooded his consciousness. This time it wasn't memories, but something else. Desire, need, attraction. The mask was amplifying their emotional responses, creating a feedback loop between them. It's reading our biochemistry, he managed, enhancing it. Asha's breathing quickened. Another thing it shouldn't be able to do. I don't think I care what it should or shouldn't do right now. Ren's hand found her waist, pulling her closer. Their first kiss was tentative, exploratory, his lips chapped from years of neglect, hers warm and surprisingly soft. The mask hummed between them, its edges digging into Ren's skin as their embrace deepened. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. That was... Asha started. Unexpected? Ren suggested. I was going to say not terrible for someone who's been in stasis for 4 years, she replied with a smirk. He laughed, actually laughed for the first time since his capture. Give me a few days of practice and I'll improve. Bold of you to assume we'll live that long. But her eyes sparkled with something that might have been hope. The moment shattered as the mask suddenly pulsed with pain, driving Ren to his knees. Images flashed rapidly. Security teams converging on their position, override codes being entered, the facility's self-destruct sequence initializing. They know I'm gone, he gasped. They're locking down the facility. We have 20 minutes before this whole place vaporizes. Asha pulled him to his feet. Then we better move. Can your mask still show us the way out? Ren focused, fighting through the pain as the mask display stabilized. Hangar Bay, 2 levels down. There's a scout ship with minimal security. Can you fly it? He managed a pained smile. Sweetheart, I could fly a brick if it had thrusters. As they moved through the facility, Ren felt the mask grip on his mind tightening again. It was fighting him now, trying to reassert control even as it continued feeding him escape information. The mental tug of war was exhausting, but Asha's presence beside him, her hand occasionally brushing his, her scent filling his senses, gave him strength to resist. Whatever connection had formed between them, whatever the mask was doing to their minds, one thing was clear. They were in this together now, and for the first time in 4 years, David Moore had something worth fighting for. 15 minutes until self-destruct, Ren gasped as they sprinted down a maintenance shaft. The mask display flickered erratically, fighting his control with increasing intensity. Asha fired her pulse weapon at a security drone that rounded the corner, dropping it in a shower of sparks. How much farther to the hangar? 1 level down, service elevator ahead. Ren stumbled, clutching his head as the mask sent a spike of pain through his skull. It's getting worse. The mask is trying to take over again. Asha caught him before he fell, her strong arm steadying him. Fight it? I didn't break you out just to lose you to that thing. Her touch anchored him, giving him something to focus on beyond the mask's intrusion. The warmth of her skin, the subtle scent that was uniquely hers, alien yet intoxicating. They reached the elevator, Asha overriding the security with her stolen access codes. As the doors closed, Ren collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. "The mask knows what we're doing," he said. "It's fighting harder the closer we get to escape." Asha knelt beside him, examining the neural interface with concern. "We need to get it off you completely." "Not until we're safely away." "I need the information it's providing." He managed a weak smile. "Besides, you said you like mysterious men." "I said no such thing," but her lips curved upward as she helped him to his feet. "Though I suppose the half-mask look has a certain appeal." The elevator doors opened to reveal the hangar bay, a vast chamber housing various VOID craft. Alarms still blared, but the area appeared largely evacuated, the VOID forces having prioritized other sections of the facility. "There," Ren pointed to a sleek scout ship near the far wall. "Type 7 interceptor, fast, lightly armed, but enough to get us clear." They moved quickly across the open space, Ren fighting both physical weakness and the masked mental assault. Each step was a battle of will, the device trying to force him to turn back, to return to his cell, to surrender. "Almost there," Asha encouraged, supporting him as they reached the ship. She placed her hand on the access panel, using her military override codes to unlock the hatch. Inside, Ren collapsed into the pilot's seat, hands moving automatically over the controls despite his deteriorating condition. "I can fly this, just need to focus." 10 minutes until self-destruct, a mechanical voice announced throughout the facility. Asha strapped into the co-pilot's seat. "I'll handle weapons and shields if you can get us airborne." The engines hummed to life under Ren's touch. Despite 4 years of captivity, his pilot's instincts remained intact. The mask, seemingly recognizing his intent, flooded his mind with the ship's schematics and operational data, even as it tried to wrest control of his motor functions. "It's helping and fighting me at the same time," he gritted out, guiding the ship toward the hangar bay doors, like it's conflicted. The massive doors began to close as automated security protocols activated. Ren punched the thrusters, sending the scout ship hurtling forward. They cleared the gap with meters to spare, emerging into the dark sky above the VOID facility. "We made it!" Asha exclaimed, but her celebration was cut short as Ren suddenly convulsed, his hands jerking away from the controls. "Can't fight it!" he gasped. The mask had fully reactivated, its neural tendrils digging deeper into his brain. "It's taking over." The ship began to bank, turning back toward the facility under the mask's influence. Asha grabbed the secondary controls, fighting to keep them on course. "David, listen to me," she said urgently. "You need to break its control. Focus on something it can't take from you." Through the haze of pain, Ren felt her hand on his arm. The touch sent a cascade of sensations through him. Warmth, connection, desire. The mask couldn't interpret these feelings. They were too raw, too human. "That's it," Asha encouraged, seeing his response. She moved closer, her free hand cupping his face below the mask. "Stay with me?" Their eyes locked, and in that moment, something profound passed between them, a connection deeper than the artificial link created by the mask. Ren felt his control returning as he focused on her, on the feelings she stirred in him. "I need to get this thing off you," Asha said, reaching for her cipher device. "Now, while you're fighting it, if you remove it while we're flying, we'll crash if I don't." Her eyes were determined. "Trust me." The facility behind them erupted in a series of explosions as the self-destruct sequence began. The shockwave rocked their small craft, throwing them against each other. For a brief, suspended moment, their bodies pressed together, hearts racing in unison. "Now," Ren whispered, making his decision. "Do it now." Asha activated the cipher, pressing it against the mask's primary connection point. Pain like nothing Ren had ever experienced tore through him as the neural interface began to detach. 4 years of invasive connection being severed in seconds. He screamed, the sound raw and primal. Asha held him steady, her voice a constant anchor in the storm of agony. "Stay with me, David. Fight through it." The mask's grip loosened, its display flickering wildly. As the neural tendrils retracted, Ren caught glimpses of information, coordinates, data streams, fragments of VOID communications. Then something unexpected. An image of Asha, younger, standing beside a stern-faced VOID commander. Her father. The final connection broke with a sound like tearing metal. The mask fell away, clattering to the floor of the cockpit. Ren gasped, feeling cool air on his entire face for the first time in 4 years. Asha stared at him, her expression a mix of wonder and something deeper. "There you are," she whispered, tracing the contours of his newly revealed features. Handsome indeed. Behind them, the void facility collapsed in a final cataclysmic explosion. Ahead lay open space and freedom. Ren took the controls again, his mind clear but filled with questions about what he'd seen in those final moments connected to the mask. As they accelerated away from the dying facility, Asha's hand found his. The touch was electric, promising something neither had dared hope for during their years of isolation. "Where to now?" she asked softly. Ren smiled, feeling truly alive for the first time in years. Anywhere but here. The stolen Void scout ship slipped into the cover of an asteroid field, its engines humming at minimal power. In the cockpit, Ren ran his fingers over his face for the 100th time, still marveling at the sensation of being free from the mask. "You keep doing that," Asha observed from the co-pilot's seat, her amber eyes reflecting the dim emergency lighting. 4 years without feeling my own face. Ren traced the neural scarring where the mask had attached. "It's strange to be just me again." Asha's gaze softened. "The scars will fade." "Some won't." Ren's expression turned serious. "I saw something when the mask came off. A memory, or maybe a data file. You standing next to a VOID commander? Your father?" Her posture stiffened. "You weren't supposed to see that. Were you planning to tell me?" Asha sighed, turning to face the viewport. "My father is General Krell, commander of the 9th Armada, the Void's most decorated military strategist and the architect of their campaign against humanity." Ren's stomach tightened. "So the general's daughter becomes a rebel. There's a story there. My father believes in Void supremacy above all else. I believed it too once." Her voice grew quiet. "Until I saw what they did to prisoners like you." The proximity alert chimed before Ren could respond. He checked the scanner, cursing under his breath. 3 Void cruisers just entered the system. They're scanning for us." "Already?" Asha leaned forward, examining the tactical display. "That's a full battle group. They shouldn't have mobilized so quickly unless..." "Unless what?" Her face paled. "Unless my father is leading them." Ren powered up the engines, preparing to move deeper into the asteroid field. "How would he know you were involved?" "The facility's security recordings. He would have reviewed them personally once he learned an Eidolon Atlas was compromised." Asha's hands tightened on the edge of her seat. "David, you don't understand. My father doesn't just want the mask back, he wants you." "Me? Why would..." "Because you survived it. No human has ever lasted more than a year connected to an Eidolon Atlas. You endured 4. Her eyes met his. "That makes you valuable. Dangerous." The ship shuddered as Ren maneuvered between 2 massive asteroids, using their bulk to mask their energy signature. "So I'm special because I didn't die? That's a hell of a participation trophy." Despite the tension, Asha smiled. "Your humor, even after everything you've endured. That's another thing that fascinates me about humans." "We cope by cracking jokes, it's our specialty." Ren checked the scanner again. "They're deploying fighters, starting a search pattern. We need to move. This ship has a limited stealth capability, but it won't fool their advanced scanners for long." Ren plotted a course through the densest part of the asteroid field. "What's the nearest safe port? Somewhere your father wouldn't look immediately?" "Outpost Helios. It's a trading hub in neutral space. We could lose ourselves there. Maybe arrange transport to Coalition territory." As Ren adjusted their heading, his hand brushed against Asha's. The contact sent a jolt through him, a reminder of their growing connection. In the dim light of the cockpit, her blue-tinted skin seemed to glow. The curve of her neck where it met her shoulder, suddenly the most fascinating thing in the universe. She caught him looking and held his gaze. "What?" just wondering what made the general's daughter turn against everything she was raised to believe. Asha's expression grew distant. I was being groomed for military command, following in my father's footsteps. Then I was assigned to oversee a research facility, one developing new applications for the Eidolon Atlas. Her voice tightened. I saw what they did to the test subjects. Humans, mostly. The way the masks stripped away everything that made them who they were, leaving empty shells. My father called it necessary, efficient. I called it an abomination. So you defected? With help from my mentor, an older officer who shared my concerns, he taught me the ancient cipher that helped free you, passed down from the time before the Void became what they are now. Her eyes glistened. They executed him for treason. I barely escaped with my life. The proximity alert blared again, louder this time. A Void fighter had broken from the search pattern, heading directly toward their position. They've found us, Ren muttered, powering up the weapon systems. Hold on. He pushed the scout ship into a tight spiral around a spinning asteroid, using its rotation as cover. The Void fighter followed, its superior engines closing the gap. We can't outrun them, Asha said, taking control of the defensive systems. And we can't outgun a full battle group. We don't need to. Ren's hands flew across the controls, his pilot's instincts fully awakened. We just need to outsmart them. He cut the main engines suddenly, letting momentum carry them forward as he activated the auxiliary thrusters in short, controlled bursts. The ship slipped between two colliding asteroids with meters to spare. The pursuing fighter wasn't so fortunate. Caught in the collision, it spiraled away, damaged but not destroyed. That won't fool them for long, Asha warned. Long enough to do this. Ren activated the emergency beacon, then ejected it into the debris field, sending it tumbling away from their actual position. They'll follow the beacon while we go dark and change course. Asha looked at him with newfound appreciation. Clever. My father always said humans relied on trickery because they lack strength. Your father hasn't spent much time with humans, has he? No! He's only ever seen them through a targeting scope. Her hand found his arm. I'm sorry for what my people did to you. The touch lingered, her fingers tracing the contours of his forearm. The scout ship drifted silently through space, its systems powered down to minimal levels. In the quiet darkness, the distance between them seemed to shrink. You freed me, Ren said softly. That's all that matters now. Their faces drew closer, so the shared danger and revelations creating an intimacy neither had expected. When their lips met this time, it wasn't tentative but hungry. Years of isolation and loneliness finding release in each other. The moment was broken by a sudden flash of light outside the viewport. The Void cruisers had taken the bait, converging on the emergency beacon's location. It worked, Asha whispered against his lips. Never underestimate human trickery, Ren replied with a grin, reluctantly pulling away to power up the engines. Now let's get to Outpost Helios before they figure out they've been played. As the scout ship slipped away under minimal power, Ren cast one last glance at Asha. Whatever lay ahead, pursuit, danger, the weight of her father's betrayal, and the secrets of the mask, they would face it together. For the first time since his capture, he felt something beyond mere survival. He felt hope. Outpost Helios hung in space like a tarnished coin, its once gleaming hull now patched and weathered from decades on the frontier. The sprawling station served as neutral ground in the ongoing conflict, a place where species from across the galaxy conducted business without political interference. Or at least that was the theory. Docking control is being unusually thorough with their security protocols, Ren muttered as he guided their stolen VOID scout ship toward the designated bay. Something's not right. Asha leaned forward, studying the station through the viewport. There are too many security vessels. Helios usually operates with minimal oversight. That's why it's popular with smugglers and refugees. Like us, Ren said with a grim smile. The comm system crackled. Unidentified vessel, transmit authorization codes, and state your business at Outpost Helios. Asha activated the stolen identity transponder they'd found in the ship's emergency kit. Transmitting now, we're independent traders seeking supplies and possible charter opportunities. A tense moment passed before the controller responded. Proceed to docking bay 17. Be advised that all arrivals are subject to enhanced security screening by order of station command. As the transmission ended, Asha's face paled. Enhanced screening? That's not standard procedure. Could be random, Ren suggested, though he didn't believe it himself. Or my father's already here? She gripped the edge of her seat. We should abort. Find another. Too late? If we turn around now, we'll look suspicious. Our best chance is to dock normally and find another way off the station. Ren reached across the console, covering her hand with his. We'll be okay. The touch steadied her, and she nodded. There's this maintenance access near docking bay 17. If we can reach it before the security team arrives. They completed the docking sequence in tense silence. As the airlock sealed with a hiss, Ren gathered what few supplies they had, emergency rations, the cipher device, and the deactivated Eidolon Atlas mask, which Asha had insisted on bringing, despite Ren's objections. We might need it, she'd said. The information it contains could help the coalition. Now, as they prepared to disembark, Ren caught her staring at him. What? You look different, she said softly. Stronger. More like yourself. He ran a hand through his unkempt hair, suddenly self-conscious. 4 years of captivity had left him gaunt, his once athletic frame whittled down to sinew and bone. I'm a mess. A handsome mess. Her amber eyes held his, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Just as I suspected when I first saw you. The moment stretched between them, charged with possibility. Then the ship's proximity alert chimed, breaking the spell. Security team approaching the airlock, Ren said, checking the external cameras. We need to move. They slipped out through the maintenance access Asha had mentioned, narrowly avoiding the security detail. The service corridors of Outpost Helios were cramped and dimly lit, smelling of recycled air and machine oil. We need to find out if my father is actually here, Asha whispered as they navigated the maze of passages. And if he is, what he wants? Besides us, you mean? The mask is valuable, yes, but not enough to warrant a general's personal attention. There must be something more. They emerged into a bustling market level, the corridor opening onto a vast chamber filled with stalls and shops. Beings of every description haggled over goods from across the galaxy, the air thick with exotic scents and the hum of a dozen different languages. We'll blend in here, Ren said, pulling Asha closer as a group of station security officers passed nearby. The casual embrace turned electric as their bodies pressed together, hidden in the shadow of a merchant's stall. Asha's breath caught, her hands resting on Ren's chest. For a suspended moment, the danger around them faded, replaced by awareness of each other. Her warmth, his heartbeat, the narrow space between them shrinking by degrees. Is this how humans typically hide? She murmured, her lips tantalizingly close to his. Only with the pretty ones, he replied, voice rough with desire. A public announcement system crackled overhead, shattering the moment. Attention all personnel and visitors. Outpost Helios is now under temporary security lockdown by authority of the Neutral Zone Compact. All civilians are required to present identification at designated checkpoints. Compliance is mandatory. The voice switched to the chittering language of the void, then cycled through several other alien tongues. That's it, Asha said, pulling back slightly. My father's here. That announcement mentioned the Neutral Zone Compact. It's an old treaty that allows for military intervention in cases of extreme threat to galactic security. And 2 fugitives qualify as an extreme threat? Not unless one of them is wearing an Eidolon Atlas. Her expression darkened. Or unless one of them knows something that could change the course of the war. They moved deeper into the market, keeping their heads down as more security teams swept through the crowds. Ren noticed they weren't just station security. Mixed among them were VOID soldiers in civilian clothing, their distinctive posture and movements betraying their military training. We need a place to hide until we can find a way off the station, he said. Asha nodded toward a seedy-looking establishment across the market floor. The Stellar Drift. It caters to spacers and smugglers. We might find help there, or at least information. They made their way across the crowded space, careful to avoid the roving security teams. Inside the stellar drift, the lighting was low and the air hazy with smoke from various intoxicants. The clientele was as diverse as the market outside, though considerably more dangerous looking. They found a booth in the back corner, ordering drinks they didn't intend to consume. Ren kept his eyes on the entrance while Asha scanned the room for potential allies or threats. "My father won't stop hunting us," she said quietly. "Not until he has what he wants." "Which is?" "I'm not sure, but I know him. He doesn't personally lead operations unless the stakes are extraordinarily high." Her hand found Ren's under the table, fingers intertwining. "Whatever he's after, it has to do with your connection to the mask. No human has ever survived it as long as you did." The contact sent warmth spreading through Ren's body, a counterpoint to the cold fear of their situation. He squeezed her hand. "Then we need to find out why I was different. And we need to do it before your father finds us." A commotion at the entrance drew their attention. A squad of fully uniformed VOID soldiers entered, led by an imposing figure whose very presence caused the room to fall silent. General Krell stood in the doorway, his tall frame encased in gleaming black armor adorned with the insignia of his rank. His face, similar to Asha's, but harder, colder, surveyed the room with calculated precision. "That's him," Asha whispered, shrinking back into the shadows of their booth. "My father." As if to hearing her across the crowded room, the general's gaze swept in their direction. Ren pulled Asha down just as those alien eyes passed over their table. "There's a back exit," she breathed against his ear, "through the kitchens." They slipped from the booth, keeping low as they made their way toward the rear of the establishment. Behind them, General Krell's voice rang out, amplified by his armor systems. "This station is now under void control. Resistance is futile and will be met with lethal force." In the cramped kitchen, alien staff barely glanced at them as they pushed through to the service exit. Years of operating in the neutral zone had taught them to mind their own business when soldiers were involved. As the door closed behind them, cutting off the general's pronouncements, Ren pulled Asha into his arms. The narrow escape, the constant danger, the uncertainty of their future, it all crystallized into an urgent need for connection. Their lips met in a desperate kiss, bodies pressing together as if trying to share the same space. For a brief, perfect moment, there was no pursuit, no war, no masks or memories, just them finding solace in each other amid the chaos. When they finally broke apart, breathless, Asha's eyes shone with a mixture of fear and determination. "We can't keep running. Not with the entire station locked down." Ren nodded, his mind racing even as his body hummed with the after effects of their embrace. "Then we stop running. We face him. That's suicide. Not if we understand what he's really after." Ren's jaw set in a determined line. "It's time to use the mask one last time." "This is insane," Ren said, watching Asha check the charge on her pulse weapon. They'd found temporary refuge in an abandoned maintenance bay, the distant sounds of void search parties echoing through the station's corridors. "My father respects strength above all else," she replied, not looking up. "A direct confrontation is the last thing he'll expect from us." "That's because it's suicide. Not with the right leverage." Asha finally met his gaze. "I know how he thinks, how he plans. He'll have established a command center in the station administrator's office. Central location, highest security, best communications." Ren ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident in every line of his body. "Even if we reach him, what then? He has an entire void battle group at his disposal." "But he wants you alive," she stepped closer, her amber eyes intense. "And he wants the mask. That gives us room to negotiate." The maintenance bay was cramped, forcing them to stand close. Ren could feel the heat radiating from her body, smell the faint alien spice of her skin. Despite the danger, or perhaps because of it, his awareness of her had only intensified since their kiss. "While you create a distraction by confronting your father, he said, forcing himself to focus on their plan, "I'll access the communication array and contact the coalition. If they're monitoring this sector, they might send an extraction team. And if they don't, then we improvise." He smiled grimly. "It's what humans do best." Asha's expression softened. That's another thing I've come to admire about your species. You never accept defeat, even when logic dictates you should. We're stubborn that way. Her hand came up to trace the neural scarring on his face, her touch feather-light. 4 years connected to an Eidolon atlas, and still you joke. Still you fight. My people would call it irrational. What would you call it? Beautiful. The word hung between them, charged with meaning beyond its simple syllables. Ren caught her hand, pressing it more firmly against his cheek. When this is over, if we survive, what happens to us? The question encompassed everything unsaid between them. The growing connection that transcended their different species, the future that seemed impossible given the war, the feelings neither had fully acknowledged. I don't know, she admitted. My people would never accept me after what I've done. And yours. Would probably throw you a parade for rescuing me, Ren finished with a smile. Humans are pretty good at adapting. It's our other specialty. The tension between them built, the narrow space of the maintenance bay becoming charged with possibility. Asha's eyes darkened, pupils expanding in the dim light. We might not survive this, she whispered. All the more reason not to waste the time we have. Their lips met with newfound urgency, the kiss deeper, more demanding than before. Ren's hands found her waist, pulling her against him as her fingers tangled in his hair. The world narrowed to just the two of them, different species, different worlds united in this moment of connection. When they finally broke apart, breathless, Asha rested her forehead against his. My people believe physical union creates a spiritual bond that transcends death, she murmured. That even if separated, two souls who have joined will find each other again. Humans have similar ideas, Ren replied, his voice rough with emotion. Soulmates, destiny. Do you believe in such things? I believe in us. Here. Now. He kissed her again, softly. And that's enough. What followed was a revelation. The discovery of similarities and differences. The tender exploration of alien and familiar. In the shadow of danger, they found solace in each other's arms. Their union a defiant affirmation of life in the face of possible death. Afterward, they lay together on Ren's discarded flight jacket, her blue-tinted skin glowing with a subtle luminescence he hadn't noticed before. Your skin, he said, tracing patterns along her shoulder. It's beautiful. Bioluminescence, she explained. It intensifies with strong emotion. It's not something I can control. Ren grinned. So basically, you're literally glowing after. Yes, she cut him off, a darker blue flush spreading across her cheeks. It's considered quite revealing among my people. Rather embarrassing, actually. I think it's perfect. He kissed her shoulder, watching the glow brighten at his touch, like having emotional feedback. She laughed softly, the sound warming him from within. Humans and your endless fascination with the new and different. My father always said it was your greatest weakness. And what do you think? I think it's your greatest strength. Her expression grew serious. It's why I believe you can help end this war. Your adaptability, your willingness to connect rather than conquer, these are qualities my people have forgotten. The moment was interrupted by the station's announcement system. General Krell's voice echoed through the maintenance bay, cold and imperious. Attention, citizens of Outpost Helios. We seek 2 fugitives, a human male and a female of our kind. They have stolen classified military technology and pose a significant threat to galactic security. A substantial reward is offered for information leading to their capture. Asha sat up, reaching for her scattered clothing. He's getting desperate. Offering rewards means his search teams have failed. Ren followed suit, the brief respite ending as reality reasserted itself. Time to implement our plan then. They dressed quickly, the intimate moment giving way to focused preparation. Ren checked the stolen communication device they would use to coordinate once separated, while Asha reconfigured her pulse weapon to a non-lethal setting. I won't kill my father's soldiers, she explained. They follow orders, as I once did. And your father? Her expression hardened. He has much to answer for, but he is still my blood. As they prepared to leave their temporary sanctuary, Ren pulled Asha into one last embrace. Whatever happens, I want you to know, meeting you was worth 4 years in that mask. She smiled, the glow beneath her skin pulsing brighter. Such a human thing to say. Finding meaning in suffering. Finding meaning in everything is what we do. He kissed her once more, briefly but with feeling. Now let's go face your father. They moved through the station service quarters, avoiding the main thoroughfares where VOID patrols were heaviest. The communication array was located 2 levels above the administrator's office, requiring them to separate at a junction near the central lift system. Remember, Asha said as they prepared to part ways, my father will try to manipulate me. Use our relationship against me. Don't believe anything you might hear over the comms. Same goes for you. Void propaganda about humans isn't exactly flattering. Her hand lingered on his arm. 15 minutes. I'll create enough of a distraction for you to reach the array. After that, we improvise, Ren finished. He squeezed her hand once, then turned toward his assigned path. David, she called softly after him. When he looked back, her expression was fierce. Don't you dare die. That's an order. He grinned, the cocky pilot resurfacing through the layers of trauma and hardship. Yes, ma'am. I wouldn't dream of it. With that, they parted, Asha heading down toward the confrontation with her father, Ren moving upward toward what he hoped would be their salvation. The mask secured in a pouch at his hip seemed to pulse with anticipation, as if it too understood that the endgame had begun. Ren had almost reached the communication array when the message came through his stolen comm device. Human. The voice was cold, precise. General Krell. I have my daughter. Come to the administrator's office. Bring the mask. You have 5 minutes before I send her to the processing chambers. Ice flooded Ren's veins. He'd heard stories of void processing, neural stripping that left victims hollow shells, their memories and personalities erased. Don't listen to him, David, Asha's voice, distant but defiant. Complete the mission. A sharp sound, impact, perhaps a blow, then silence. 4 minutes, 50 seconds, Krell continued, unmoved. Ren's hand tightened around the mask in its pouch. So close to freedom, to contacting the coalition. But Asha, damn it, he muttered, turning away from the array. Some choices weren't really choices at all. The administrator's office had been transformed into a command center, void tactical displays hovering in the air. General Krell stood at his center, imposing in his black armor. Asha knelt beside him, hands bound, a neural suppressor at her throat. Her eyes widened when Ren entered. You fool, she whispered. You should have run. Not my style. Ren stepped forward, hands raised. Let her go, General. It's me you want? Krell studied him with cold calculation. The human who survived 4 years connected to an Eidolon atlas. Fascinating. I aim to impress. Ren kept his tone light despite the fear churning in his gut. The mask for Asha. That's the deal. You misunderstand your position. Krell's thin lips curved in what might have been a smile. I want both. Father, Asha said, her voice steady despite her position. This war has consumed you, made you forget what we once stood for. Silence. Krell didn't look at her. The human, the mask, both contain secrets that will ensure void supremacy. Ren slowly removed the mask from its pouch. You know, for a supposedly advanced species, you're remarkably predictable. Always the same goal. Domination, control, power. And humans are different, Krell scoffed. Your species spreads like a disease, consuming resources, adapting, infiltrating. We call it living, Ren replied. Something your people seem to have forgotten how to do without feeding off others' memories. Krell's expression hardened. The mask. Now. Ren held it out, but as Krell reached for it, he pulled back slightly. One question first. Why me? Why did I survive when others didn't? A flicker of something, respect perhaps, crossed the general's face. Your neural patterns are compatible in ways we've never seen. You didn't merely survive the mask, you began to integrate with it, to control it rather than being controlled. David, Asha said urgently, the mask responded to both of us. Remember? It created a link. Understanding dawned. The connection he'd felt with the mask, with Asha, it wasn't just emotional, it was neural, physical. Yeah, enough talk. Krell extended his hand. The mask. Or my daughter suffers. Ren locked eyes with Asha. In that moment of silent communication, a plan formed. Desperate, dangerous, but possible. You win, General. Ren handed over the Eidolon Atlas. Just don't hurt her. Krell examined the mask with satisfaction. Secure him, he ordered the guards. As they approached, Ren tense, ready to fight. But it was Asha who moved first. Despite her bonds, she lunged upward, ramming her shoulder into her father's side. The general staggered, the mask slipping from his grasp. Ren dove for it, his fingers closing around the cold metal. The neural interface activated at his touch, responding to his familiar brainwaves. But instead of placing it on his face, he pressed it against the nearest VOID tactical display. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The mask, containing 4 years of Ren's memories and now attuned to his neural patterns, interfaced with the VOID systems. Alarms blared as the station's security protocols went haywire. Doors locking and unlocking, gravity fluctuating, defensive systems activating against phantom threats. What have you done? Krell roared, struggling to maintain his footing as the artificial gravity pulsed. Improvised, Ren replied, grabbing Asha and pulling her toward the exit. Humans are good at that. They fled through the chaos, VOID soldiers too disoriented by the failing systems to pursue effectively. The mask continued its work, spreading through the station's network like a virus, turning the Void's own technology against them. The docking bay, Asha gasped as they ran. My father's personal shuttle? I can override the security. They fought their way through the disoriented station, the mass influence creating a path of confusion before them. At the docking bay, Asha's override codes granted them access to a sleek VOID command shuttle. Can you fly this thing? Ren asked as they sealed the hatch behind them. Better than you, she replied with a fierce grin, sliding into the pilot's seat. The shuttle broke free of the station just as coalition ships appeared at the system's edge, drawn by the Void Fleet's unusual presence and the station's erratic behavior. In the confusion, their small craft slipped past both forces, accelerating toward open space. They'll follow, Asha said, her hands dancing across the controls. Let them try. Ren settled into the co-pilot's seat, watching the stars streak past. We've got a head start in a story they'll never believe. She glanced at him, her expression softening. What happens now? Now? We find somewhere quiet to lay low. Then we take what we know to the coalition. The mask, your father's obsession with my neural patterns. It could change the course of the war. And us? The question held all the weight of their shared experiences, their impossible connection. Ren reached across the console, taking her hand. Her skin glowed at his touch, the bioluminescence responding to emotion in a way he found endlessly fascinating. Us is the easy part, he said. We stick together. Figure out the rest as we go. My people would say that's an irrational approach to an uncertain future. And what would you say? Her fingers intertwined with his, the glow beneath her skin brightening. I'd say it sounds perfectly human, and I find I rather like that perspective. Behind them, Outpost Helios grew smaller, the Void Fleet in disarray as coalition forces pressed their unexpected advantage. Ahead lay uncertainty, danger, the ongoing war, but also possibility. You know, Ren said, watching a distant star system grow larger in their viewport. When I was trapped in that mask, I whispered to myself that I'd be like that forever. I never imagined an exiled alien would free me. And I never imagined a human would show me what freedom truly means. Asha programmed the coordinates for a remote outpost where they could safely contact the coalition. Perhaps that's our real story, how we freed each other. As the shuttle jumped to faster-than-light travel, Ren smiled at the woman beside him. Alien yet familiar, different yet perfectly complementary. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, their unlikely bond, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unexpected connections that could form even across the stars. The mask had trapped his face, but she had freed his heart. And in that freedom, they had found something neither had expected, a future worth fighting for.